Watch a sprinter exploding off the starting blocks. The sheer physical force required to propel a human body forward at that speed is staggering. Meanwhile, your brain is simultaneously processing millions of sensory inputs to maintain your balance, and your liver is quietly filtering reactive toxins out of your bloodstream. These tasks require entirely different physical actions and chemical environments. Yet the structures performing all of this work, your cells, share the same core architecture. This animated diagram shows the universal cellular engine. Every cell shares this base hardware: a protective lipid membrane, mitochondria to generate ATP, the primary molecule used for energy, and Na+, K+ ATPase ion pumps. These protein pumps maintain the cell's electrical charge by moving sodium and potassium. The body's diversity comes from taking this universal base and adding specialized molecular attachments. By swapping these tools, a generic cell becomes a precision instrument. Understanding how the body customizes this single engine into 9 specific cell types provides the master key to how we live and why we get sick. The first specialization strategy is physical geometry. By modifying the shape of the cell, the body creates controlled borders and exchange surfaces. Epithelial cells, which line your gut and skin, use 2 primary modifications: tight junctions to form an impenetrable seal between cells, and microvilli, tiny hair-like projections that increase the surface area available to absorb nutrients. In your vascular system, endothelial cells stretch completely flat to line the interior of your blood vessels. They act as control valves, using enzymes to produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a signaling gas that tells vessel walls to relax and widen, regulating blood pressure. This diagram shows the mechanism of systemic shock. If these endothelial cells fail to produce nitric oxide, or if an infection like sepsis causes them to separate at their junctions, fluid leaks directly out of the bloodstream and into the surrounding tissue. In the lungs, alveolar cells modify their shape for gas exchange. Type 1 alveolar cells stretch their membranes thin to let oxygen pass into the blood, while type 2 cells produce surfactant, a substance that lowers surface tension to prevent the air sacs from collapsing when you exhale. These structural shape modifications dictate exactly which molecules and fluids are permitted to enter or exit the body's major systems. While barrier cells focus on borders, the second strategy turns cells into chemical factories by customizing their internal organelles and the proteins they secrete. Fibroblasts, osteocytes, and chondrocytes are the framework builders. They churn out structural collagen and maintain mineral balances required to construct bone and cushion joints. In the respiratory and digestive tracts, goblet cells serve as a lubrication system. They secrete mucin proteins, large molecules that trap water to form a protective mucus gel. In conditions like asthma, overdriven goblet cells can physically obstruct the airways with excess fluid. This animated diagram illustrates a hepatocyte, the liver's metabolic powerhouse. It packs extra mitochondria and cytochrome P450 enzymes to break down chemicals. Hepatocytes use this machinery for the urea cycle, converting ammonia into waste, storing glucose, and synthesizing vital blood proteins. Because these cells manage the chemical environment, their failure poisons the system from the inside out, leading to toxic buildup and an inability for the blood to clot. The final category involves cells that manipulate ion channels to generate rapid electrical signals and physical kinetic force. Neurons are the body's electrical wiring. They grow long axons wrapped in a myelin sheath, an insulating layer that accelerates signal speed. By opening and closing voltage-gated sodium and potassium channels, they fire electrical impulses across the body. This speed requires constant energy. If oxygen levels drop, a state called hypoxia, the neuron's ATP pumps fail. Without energy to maintain their electrical balance, sodium floods the cell, leading to swelling or seizures. Myocytes are the body's motors. This diagram shows their internal sarcomeres, made of interlocking actin and myosin bands. When signaled, the cell releases a flood of calcium. This triggers the burning of ATP, forcing the bands to ratchet together, generating physical contraction. If ATP runs out, these motors lock into a state of rigor. If calcium levels aren't strictly controlled, the electrical engine can misfire into deadly cardiac arrhythmias. Every organ and system in the body is a direct assembly of these specialized cellular engines, interlocking to create a single synchronized machine. Neurons command the myocytes, which are fueled by the chemical processing of the hepatocytes and oxygenated by the thin barriers of the alveolar cells. This framework provides a direct mechanical map for pathology. Heart attacks, asthma, and sepsis all trace back to the same failure point. A specific molecular attachment on one of these 9 cell types has stopped working. Human biology relies on this underlying architecture: 1 universal engine, 9 specialized tools, and the constant coordination required to keep us alive.